the current state of affairs in Uganda, we had a very, very busy week. Highs and lows. Winning gold in Paris, a rare event, and that time when Joshua Cheptegei made us proud. But we also have to look at the traders' strike again and again, and also look at the continuing anti-corruption protests, but also looking at other issues like the discontent in the medical fraternity, with medical interns expressing their discontent over delayed deployment after a whole year sitting after graduation. My name is Prince Apollo, as usual, but Dr. Gerard Wanzara is in the studios. Richard Baguma is in the studios. We'll be joined by Winfred Mugambwa to look at these and many other stories. Welcome to the show. Dr. Gerard Wanzara, please speak to our viewers, and we kick off the big show.
Good morning, our esteemed viewers. I'm happy to be here, as I always do. Without you, we are doing nothing. But because of you, we are able to be here to sustain this show. Thank you for being with us. And of course, a good morning to my colleague on the right, Richard. Good to see you. Okay? Ready to hear from you, sir.
Dr. Gerard is a public policy researcher and a member of the Republic of Chirinya.
Very well. United Republic, not just
United Republic of Chirinya.
That is, it represents the entire Uganda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Happy to see you back again. Richard, happy to have you on the dialogue this morning.
You know, separatists start like that.
Hey.
They started declaring their areas, republics. They are separate.
After all, we have a port we can go
directly go. Good morning, our viewers. Thank Lord for us to be here. Yet again, we thank you, God. We thank you, our viewers. I share the sentiment of Dr. Wirike, that you are the ones who make us.
Wow.
Apollo, you and your management, of course we are grateful. We don't need to say that all the time.
Wow.
And we hope that we can stay together for the next 2 hours and beyond.
Wow. Anything that stood out in this week, quickly?
Of course, Cheptegei, I don't want to repeat that. I was also happy that the alcohol drinks control bill was put on the order paper. So I want to thank the presiding office of Parliament, really, honestly, for doing that. There are too many forces and relatively powerful that fight any control on alcohol, any regulation on alcohol. There is too much destruction that alcohol is doing to our country. This week, it was a bit. I was a bit depressed. I was moving, and I met 3 friends. Old friends, old boys from Montari, and one is a colonel, one is a senior lawyer, or senior counsel, one is also in the security establishment. And so I came to say hello to them, and they said, oh, you appropriated, thank you for coming. We see you talking about this. All of us 3, we are here to discuss the best place to take our children because of addiction, because of alcohol addiction. So they were trying to say, do you know the best rehabilitation center? And I felt depressed a bit. But this is the problem we are having. We have a real huge problem of alcohol addiction. And so when you see like the new chairperson of the trade committee in Parliament bashing the deputy IGP, that, oh, you know, this lady, I can promise her, if she looks around, the honorable, I don't know her name, the honorable new chair of the trade committee, who is hostile to this bill, without contradiction, she has somebody around her circles who is suffering. So I don't understand, but that was my week.
Thank you so much, Richard. And 1 second to Dr. Gerard. Any outstanding moment in this week?
Of course, I also congratulate Joshua. Our neighbors who run, we can't run, I don't know what. Yet we all live in the mountains. That is something I need
Very
to
interesting issue you have raised as a research, I think.
Yeah, because we are neighbors, we all live in the same mountains. They can run, we cannot run. So I think they have a special talent, and
Wow,
probably
that is,
because of the Ethiopian connection.
No, new record.
He set a new record.
Yes.
And now he has an Olympic gold, the first, I think, to himself, and then another world record to himself. I think
no, for him,
that's what makes.
For him, he's made his history.
That's something that can make someone proud, and even the whole country proud.
He's in the category we call GOAT.
Yes, greatest of all time.
Yeah, greatest of all time.
Yes.
So we are really proud of him.
Proud
and
of
sometimes I actually ask myself, if we didn't have our Kalenjin brothers, I don't know what would be winning in Olympics. Because at least every time they go, we know something is coming back home.
Well, that was really a beautiful moment for Uganda and Ugandans at large, having someone grab a gold. Actually, but the competitions are still ongoing. Can we hope for more?
Yeah, sure, there's potential because I've seen a list of, again, our sisters from the same place. So we can even win two more.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's it, and this is The Dialogue. My name once again is Prince Apollo, and I'll start with you, Dr. Jared Wansala, looking at what is happening and what specifically happened this week. The traders closed shops again over the cancelled meeting with President Museveni. And we know what their demands have been over time. But I and others know that the cancelled meeting was not the spark that led to the closure of shops. These were statements from the State Minister for Kampala, who told them if they cannot open and stop disorganizing his city, they should go to their villages and rear goats. That was the statement, the response from, which actually angered the traders to the extent of closing shops. And not only traders, but we can also see that the protests, though there are no physical protests on streets, but there are protests in social media spaces against the rampant corruption. The anti-corruption protests are still ongoing and continuing. Actually, one lady, Namara Claire, was arrested at a church function holding placards. But more and more protesters are being released on bail, but still you can feel that the protests, the protest is still ongoing. We can also bring in the issue of interns, who were also threatening to go on strike, expressing their discontent over delayed deployment. Dr. Wanzala, what do you read from this simmering discontent that keeps popping up?
Okay, thank you very much. I think that's a good question. Apple, I will begin from the trigger this time. The miscommunication or the poor communication. You see, last week when we were here, we discussed and we said probably the government has not developed a communication strategy, or they may have it in paper, but it's not being implemented. Because a government of this nature, especially, you know, when you're a leader, you are faced with, it's normal to have all these contradictions, strikes, people getting discontented, but how do you respond? Who speaks, when, and what? So I think for a minister to meet the angry people and say, if you cannot, first of all, It's not his city. That is also a wrong statement. This is a city of the people who live in Kampala, of Ugandans. It doesn't belong to anyone. When you are given power to preside over such a city as a minister, it is delegated power, one, from the president, and then the other, it is a service. The word minister comes from the biblical times.
Service.
Service. You hear church ministers. But I think that's why in some countries our colleagues have demystified the title, because here it is misrepresented. People think that if you're a minister, then you are so big, you are so powerful, and you are the owner probably of that ministry. But it is not so. A minister is a servant. Even communist governments that we see that are very brutal, like our colleagues in the Far East, you also find that every time they are addressing the citizens, either a press conference or addressing delegates of the ruling party, they always bend and honor the people, because people pay the tax, the leaders live there because the citizens are there. So I think we need to change that attitude. But also, coming to the what we discussed before about traders, this issue, like we said here, if risk was a trigger, okay? You remember I categorically stated here that the challenges that the traders were having were beyond IFRIS. IFRIS, of course, was making it hard to evade tax, that those who were dodging to pay could be traced up to the last. And when you look at other organized shops, if you go to places like Bata Uganda, you go to some of the supermarkets, they have already implemented, installed. So every item they sell is connected to IFRIS, and they are not striking. Now, the business survival downtown is based on informality. Now, the process of connecting to IFRIS means you are also formalizing, and therefore, it's very easy to trace your sales, and therefore it becomes very hard for you to hide the tax. So this loss of extra revenue that you have been earning, it is a cause for alarm. The other, we talked about the issues downtown, were issues to do with the loans, especially loans that were got during, say, COVID, and therefore we did not have a waiver. They were simply suspended for 3 months, another 3 months was renewed, but people continued to pay. The other issue we talked about was about the issue of rent. There are people I know who are paying rent twice for the period of closure and the period moving forward. So those people have not recovered. That's a serious issue. And then the other comes from also the way we are, I think the way we are handling our economic policy interventions. I had some time back when people were critiquing the PDM, the Secretary to the Treasury, the Mr. Gobi, Ramadan Gobi, said that, well, we can give money even if it doesn't produce anything. After all, these are Ugandans. Even if they eat it, it is okay, they are Ugandans. But may I believe that probably if you use the such money, over $1 trillion, to support existing businesses that can stimulate investments and employ people, it's better than gambling on giving people money. Most times, like now, PDM, I remember during the design, they were saying you have to sit, design a project with the parish chief. Today, they're just identifying people in the village before you received the other phase. Now it is your turn. Then your name is submitted, and the money is wired directly to your account. So it is up to you to know whether to eat it or to do anything sensible out of it. So with such a program, even monitoring results becomes a problem. Unless we do these things just like we were doing from Ntandikwa, where we don't learn, instead of supporting to stimulate credible businesses, we give people money to eat. I'm telling you, I was young, 1996, but people married wives out of Ntandikwa money, because they would receive the money. The next thing is to buy a kanzu, goats, and go and get another one. We had this program like Poverty Eradication Action Plan. They did not produce results. Today, this one is even going to be actually a very serious embarrassment, because we're going to pump in more money, probably after 2026 elections. It's not going to work. So what I'm saying is, we need a comprehensive, paper on how we can stimulate these investments.
Yeah, but before we do that, Gerard, the traders' demands were clear, and they even had an opportunity to meet and interface with the head of state. Then the meeting was again postponed once, not once, but twice, and in the end, the meeting is cancelled. Then a response from government is actually abrasive and not so appropriate.
And maybe, Apple, for the reminder, sorry, for the benefit of the viewers, as you have said, the demands were very clear. One of those were to remove the fines. And that was very key. The president pronounced himself and said, let the fines be removed.
The penalties.
The penalties of those who are defaulted
on VAT.
On VAT. And I saw so many people going to URA, being cleared, and actually parading their certificates and leaving. So that happened. There were issues of enforcement downtown, and I think there was a lot of engagement. I saw it, including URA staging downtown and engaging with the traders. It happens. So, for me, I think there is something deeper.
Exactly.
That we are not
interrogating.
Probably it is to do with the business environment, and for me, the root causes are the ones I want us to find out.
Thank you.
As a government.
Richard, we discussed this matter not once but twice, and it comes up again, and you cannot ignore it, knowing what stake the business community has in our economy, and actually the losses that the country incur every time they close shops, especially in Kampala. What do you make of how this matter has been handled, and relating to the responses that are coming from government?
The first thing for me, you talked about it, that has remained in my mind, was this girl.
Oh. Namala Kleya.
With her, I don't know her name, I couldn't even remember her name, with the placard at church. Yes. You see, I have seen her photo. And this is what I was saying the last time. That this girl has the presence of mind to see the level of deployment. She has seen the force that you have put out to deter her from protesting. This girl, I don't know her qualifications, but from the looks, she's not malnourished, she's not riffraff, she's not. And that's what I was talking about, that the other 200 or so, you couldn't accuse them of being the traditional stone throwers.
The hooligans.
You wouldn't accuse them of looking or behaving in a hooligan way. And I told you, that for me is the real challenge. That my strategist, President Museveni is a strategist, and he operates in a guerrilla manner. He's saying this, showing you this, but actually he's doing this. That is his method. So he does not in any way underlook this photo. It's a huge, message. It shows that. And that's what I was saying. For me, in Marinyankore, you say when you're tired, when you are on the wall, when you say nakaba, it is a nakaba message. So bring it to the traders. Traders don't like to strike. Traders don't like to close businesses. No, that is absolutely. That is not there. So for them to accept to undergo, I usually say, oftentimes, for you to undergo surgery, it is the last
option.
Absolutely. So these guys communicate to you repeatedly that they have run out of options. So the worst case is that they close. That is, they just withdraw. And so when you repeatedly do not respond to that appropriately, when you say that I cannot meet you because the venue
is under renovation.
I mean, really. Apollo, so why wouldn't people cross? And then somebody sends a voice note.
A minister also sends a voice note.
But that's what I tell you. I go back to my subject. My subject is the impunity. That you reach a level of impunity and you communicate that way.
President Museveni did not issue a statement that the minister
that the level of impunity
for Kampala, Minsa Kabanda, sent a voice note to traders,
you see,
telling them the venue is under renovation, the president is not.
The reason, the cancellation, the man of cancellation, the way it is messaged, it's the reflection of the levels of it.
Then the state minister comes out and tells them, if you don't want to open shops, I would not tolerate confusion in my city, you better go back to Chanamkak and rear goats.
So that for me, this impunity, and that's what you really see that you keep moving to a tipping point. That the impunity, and you see this impunity is by ourselves, and we must rein it in. And if we don't, and you see this thing of when we say you talk and you have what you say, you are giving a sense of crisis. Yes, it is a crisis. It is a crisis. If you see your traders who are trading in an extremely difficult environment, opt that no, let's just stay home.
Wow.
What, that's a crisis. What other crisis are you waiting for? And so it is the impunity. Apollo, let me tell you what escalated difference. My nieces and nephews are the ones who are manning URA at the operational level. They see the impunity we have. They take the same impunity to the traders. Let me tell you, Apollo, when you come and you are installing an English program on my computer, on a computer, first of all, you introduce me to computer, you bring it an initial program. What is my capacity? Yeah, to understand. And then you don't come to educate me. So we were on radio. It reminds me of the lady used to be the headmistress of Gayaza Primary. I had a niece there. Then, they would set the visitation at the beginning of the term. Midway, they changed it.
Oh.
So we didn't know. I found a lady from Kigali who had come to see her daughter. Another one had flown in from Nairobi. And she was coming from a meeting in Hagombe and she was walking. She said, Twaranga kusi BS.
Oh.
I took the girl. She was my niece. Her father was in America and the mother, I took the girl away. That impunity, the impunity builds and it is everywhere. The same, you see, and it's a reflection of the top. That is why the border, Apple. You are on the road, the border knocks you and abuses you and they surround you and they say, we're going to buy you, we want money from you. So this, for me, this impunity reaches a tipping point. And that girl at a church, knowing the level of deployment, seeing her colleagues have already been arrested and put in, she comes out. That is where we are headed.
Thank you so much, Richard, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you Winifred Mugambwa, a human rights activist, but also the executive director for Rights for Her, a CSO, a civil society organization. I know propels the rights of women and girls. Winifred, I'm happy to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. I'm Winifred Mugambwa, and I'm a human rights defender, not an activist.
Oh, defender. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm an eco-feminist.
Yeah, I want you to educate me the difference. I think the viewers are like me, between defender and activist. Sorry for putting you on the spot. I must also declare that we are friends. We haven't met here.
Happy to be here.
Thank you. Quickly, if you look at the state of affairs in Uganda, the discontent that keeps, that is actually, it is still simmering. It is simmering. That simmering discontent with traders, traders issues pending for years and years. And I look back to 2021 when traders closed shops for, I think it was about 5 days, less than 5 days. And it was stated that Uganda lost more than 40 billion shillings. And then these losses have been piling and piling. Every time they close shops, we lose revenue as a country. What do you make from this content and how it is being addressed, especially looking at the responses that have been coming in? I will, again, gentlemen and the lady, address you to another response that came from Right Honorable Anita Mong as when she attended a function in Mitoma. She responded to those who are protesting against corruption that, hello, look, you're saying Anita must go. Where should I go? Where do you want me to go? And she stated that she actually have another term to serve before she hands over to Thomas Tayebwa. Winfred.
Thank you so much. I want to just add on and agree with my brothers. And I'll start from the girl. Personally, me, the girl going to church puts me to think that people want to also hear what the church is saying. Yes? You know, not all, but most. To me, I feel like, okay, people we are in church, pastors, priests, the leaders in church are busy praying for people, chasing ghosts out of them, yet they are the ghosts that we need to chase because of their silence in the matter. I don't think this girl just randomly said, this is the nearby place, let me go there. She strategically thought of it. The church is silent. Let me go and hold this post from there. And to me, I think, however much the message was about corruption, but there was a message she was sending to church. And I urge you, church leaders, not to just take it lightly that, okay, this one was protesting about corruption. He was also protesting, I believe, about the silence of the church. And like you stated, we always lose revenue. And who stands to lose? Yes, the government, the country loses. But who stands to suffer most when all those are lost? The president will still get his salary as it is, and also the other allowances or benefits. He will get the way it is. The ministers will still get their allowances, they will still get their salaries and the other benefits. The member of parliaments will still get their salaries, their allowances, their benefits, and many people will get that. But still, most people will suffer. Will not have medicine in hospitals. Enough medicine in hospitals. The infrastructures will have an issue. The education system will be affected. Yes? So it means that the lower citizens will suffer. So that is why I think they are not thinking about, they are not thinking so hardly, how can we help this? Let us first just enforce, because this is what we have to do. The minister coming out to arrogantly, because that is not miscommunication, that is arrogance. Even Anita making those statements, that is arrogance. Sometimes even the Bible talks about money, that money is a problem. And I've seen that in Uganda, most people who have gotten money, I don't want to use the word, but the Bible states it openly, the word idiot, foolish, it says it openly. They become either of that. They start arrogantly speaking out because they don't feel the pain. When someone is standing, we are having ministers who are like, that is how I've stated, when we lose revenue, they are not affected. Because they are in this position of privilege, they don't feel the pain of what the traders are what the traders are saying, because they will know that even if they close the shops downtown, I'll go to this big supermarket because I can afford going there. The fuel I used to go there is paid by the citizens. Yes, the salary I get is paid by the citizens. So who goes to downtown mostly? So they don't feel it because they are standing in the privileged place, and they have not allowed themselves to think beyond their thinking. They have allowed themselves to think within the box of we are having the money, we are having the jobs, they are protecting their, so that is where the problem is.
Can't they read the messages? Like Richard Baguma said, this young girl who looks not to be a lumpen, as they have been branded over time, holding a placard with strong messages against the lavish lifestyle of leaders. And can they pick the messages?
Like I've told you, when your mind has already been contaminated, and their mind has frozen because of their privilege they are in, they are not allowing themselves to think. They are reading those messages, but they don't care. Money, like I told you, money in the Bible talks about money. I was still talking about that. The Bible talks about money as being one of the baddest things.
The root of evil.
Yes.
The Bible says money is the root of evil.
Yes. Thank you so much. You've even stated it very well. So most of these people, they've gotten the money. I don't want to say that they are coming from bad backgrounds, but because of money, they have become more arrogant.
But also money is not bad.
Money is not bad. Money is not bad. Yes, but it can help when it finds you that you don't use your brains to work. It makes you more. You get rotten. These people read. They really understand because they can read. These people also have relatives, even in their villages. They know of hospitals or schools where things are lacking, but they have chosen because they want to protect the state they are in. They don't feel like, I've told you, they don't go to downtown. They don't go to those to hospitals where we go.
They don't understand the hassles.
They do understand. No, they do understand because most of them have been there. Most of them have walked a journey to where they are. Please, Anita has walked the journey. We have read about her history. Kaban has also walked the journey. We have read about his history. They are just being fools. They are just allowing themselves.
That's
like how
no,
it is
word.
Okay. It is a strong word, but there is in Proverbs. There is how it's brought out. Yes, we allow earthly things to take us. We start sinning and we get into that. Yes, I'm not saying they are, but they're allowing themselves to be that.
Okay, you're
by
using
telling
it as you're not specifically.
Yes, I'm referring to the Bible because they all say they go to church. I'm referring to the words in the proverb. I am not saying they are, but I'm saying what the Bible said. And when you wake up and tell traders who are serving people in Kampala that if they want, they can go to the village and rear goats.
No, if they don't want to open shops.
If they don't want to open shops,
they should go back to villages and rear goats.
Don't you think they know that there's other options? They know there are other options. Maybe some of them, they don't even have lands. Is even that, according to him, is it the best option? Like, is it the best option he could give?
Business,
he could give as a minister. You get it? So these people are just taking the privilege. They are not using the privilege they have very well. And as these things are surfacing and we are giving, and the ministers, people in position of influence, they are giving a deaf ear or a deaf eye, yet they're closing their eyes to the reality, we are still learning in more problems. Because we ministers are trying to cover up the reality. And you can never bury the reality. Reality will always surface. You can't tell you're going to meet them. I believe what annoyed them mostly is, may not even have been the meeting, not having the meeting, but the response. And even you can't say that the place is under renovation. Yes, I believe there are other options. There are other places for meeting. You can't give that lame. It is a lame reason.
No, the traders were actually saying that the president has, over time, on several occasions, addressed issues on media, over the media, on media. All they wanted was an official statement from the president that because of this and that, and the meeting has been called off.
And that is what I'm saying, there are other options.
Yes. Is the minister sending an audio message to the traders that the president is will not be able to meet you because Kololo is under renovation.
But even let me just, but these ministers are just taking this position as it's just a mediocre. How can you send an audio to? Really?
That's it, and this is the dialogue. My name is Prince Apollo. You can be part of this discussion. Send your messages, comments and observations on WhatsApp and on our SMS line. Please be part of the discussion. And we are looking at the current state of affairs in Uganda. The simmering discontent, to me, is a matter of concern. When you have more than 100 anti-graft protesters jailed. Luckily, most of them are being released on bail, but you still have others actually daring to go on the street. Actually, even this week, another person was picked around Parliament and was arrested. Then another one is the girl who was picked from the church. So they continue to express their discontent, and you have traders striking and closing shops. You have medical interns also threatening to. Dr. Jida Beranzala talked about this issue of medical interns. I don't know when this will be resolved. Again, they were threatening to strike over delayed deployment. They have been at home for the whole year. They graduate, sit at home for the whole year until they demonstrate, then they are deployed.
Again, I was here discussing the same matter with Richard, I think a year last year, when we had the other one, which was too long. And I remember the able chairperson of the health committee then, Ayume, made very good recommendations. But I knew it was just going to pass in the air. Just like they say the dead are always walking in the air and we don't see them. So I knew those recommendations were going to just pass. I suggested here that we know the number of universities that are producing medical interns who are doing medical courses. We know how many. What is so hard with us going and then doing an audit of how many are channeled out every year, and then we can develop a plan such that we don't act like this is a fire that has been lit and the building is burning, then we keep running around like headless chicken. I really said that you can have the numbers. I don't know if they ever reflect in history why they were saying, because we had the governments before, they would say, Mulago is going to produce this number of people. Makerere is producing this. And therefore there is a program to absorb these people for their training. For God's sake, the training of doctors is not done until they serve that 1 year in the hospital. No wonder we are having now challenges where we are seeing very many young doctors in health facilities who are treating people without doing internship, and they are being paid very little to survive. And then this is a danger to the citizens. I know that our leaders are probably not going to those health facilities, but it is a danger. You're not going to preside over sick people and then you expect them to be productive, because the results of us not funding these interns will be felt in the manner in which we are handled when we visit hospitals. So I would love to see a program by the permanent secretary, you know, Minister of Health, who is not, by the way, just a permanent secretary, but is also a cousin to the President of the Republic of Uganda, and I think a personal doctor of the President. She is very capable. I know her training from Bara University. I believe that she can have the ability to solve this problem if there was will from the rest. I also know that Dr. Acheng, I have followed. She was a hospital practitioner. She was in policy at the ministry as a commissioner before becoming a minister of health. So I believe that we have a competent team if they are given this support that they need from the politicians, that this can be resolved to avoid, you know, us having this problem recurring over and over again. Or if we are not able to support them, of course I know these intern doctors are doing a great job. Many hospitals you go, senior doctors many times are few, and they are not there because of the ceiling and recruitment and so forth. So these young doctors are always in the wards, doing ward round, supporting. For Uganda's case, they really hold the health system. In China, intern doctors are not paid by government. It is considered that they are still studying, and therefore parents also have a responsibility to support them to complete their training. If we are saying we don't want to fund them, then let there be a change of policy so that the parents know that I am not only going to pay for the 5 years, but I'm also incurring the burden of paying for these guys to complete their training. Because, but also, on the other hand, if someone is carrying the whole burden of the health facility and is on training, it is only fair that they are paid something because they are
paid 1 million.
Exactly.
Once they are deployed.
Which basically in our economy, 1 million is basically for food. So if you are giving them lunch, they need to eat dinner, and then they need to transport themselves to the workplace. So these are the discussions we should be having. But deploying, I saw a police officer chasing them inside to the halls of residence. And the whole thing looked funny. If you can chase someone up to a hostel in the hospital, it means you can tear gas patients, which is very unfair. Now, these things are all coming at the same time. The traders are striking, the medical interns are striking, the youth are confronting the corrupt, and then we seem to suggest that there's no problem in the country. We just keep saying, oh, these are the ones who want to disturb the peace that we brought. That peace is not a guarantee. Just the way you had the ability to cause instability between 1981 to 1986, there are also millions who can cause that.
You are disturbing the wealth creators. Dr. Thank you so much. Richard, quickly on the issue of interns. Interns, this problem has persisted, and from the document I have seen from Dr. Ruth Acheng, some of the issues that drive this discontent is capacity to supervise these interns. The people who are supposed to supervise them are very few. Then the funds to pay and facilitate these interns, and several other things. But on the other side, you have the issue of corruption. People, a lot of money is being is swindled, is stolen. What do you read from this state of affair?
You see, it is very tough. The first challenge we have is the mind to talk about these things openly and hope that you will still remain free. So we do a lot of editing when we are making public comments. Yeah, we are very careful what we say. But I just want to give some maybe context, some comparisons. Let's take the budget. I think between the super specialized hospital that we are putting up in Uruvoa and the very super vaccine manufacturing plant, I think we spend about $1 trillion.
More than it.
Yeah,
More than.
about $1 trillion shillings in our budget. That money gets available, by the way, even if it means to get available through supplement. We will get about $1 trillion. $1 trillion. You see, I keep telling you, Apollo, that so many times we talk about figures. I train journalists, and I find that these figures don't make sense even to the journalists. $1 trillion is, I think it's a million millions. It's 1,000 billion. So you have 1 million millions is what we are talking about. And the interns require about 50 or 40 something.
Billions.
Billions. About 45, I think, a billion to have their issues annually. So even if we did, and both are health, the super specialized hospital we are putting up and the super modern, the ultra modern vaccine factory, they are also health. So if we could take some 50 billion from the 1 trillion and deal with the issue of interns, we could still construct our super specialized hospital in Uruvoa.
Because how
and
long
still
have you
have,
been
no, you will talk, leave me. We shall still have progress on the construction of our super specialized hospital and our ultra modern vaccine. Just take away some 50 billion, it will not stop. What am I saying? Is that this is a problem that we can deal with. So it's not a problem of lack
Of funds.
of funds.
Really?
This is my view. But let me also tell you what I think, what I have had is the other problem. Training of these training institutions for this health, right, was taken out from health to education. I am told that battle has never ended. So if you have issues that relate to training of health workers that affect the Ministry of Health, then the Ministry of Education will be crapping. Say, we told you. Why, you know? So the health people will also let the crisis pan out to say this thing should be brought back to us. It should not go away. When he was talking about something that Nyankole is what we call Enjura Yempangukano. Enjura Yempangukano is this rain that you had not, you knew, you didn't foresee was coming. The interns are not like Enjura Yempangukano.
Yeah.
No. If you have somebody who has been training for at least 2 years, let's not go to the doctors. Let's go to the interns of nurses that they have been training for 2 years. So you obviously know
That they will go for.
that these are the numbers we are going to have. So it's not like it is
Something you can plan for.
absolutely.
Prior.
Absolutely. So that is the other contextual thing for me. That how come it can be repetitive? What is the problem? I have said here again that you see, if we indeed claim, I don't agree with that claim, but if we indeed claim that we don't have adequate money to cover the interns, okay, let's then say that for the people we support on government, we shall look after them. The people who have been doing private. But don't, you see, I was telling you that I was paying a student for pharmacy, and I don't know how many calls I had to make, because this person has graduated and is sitting, we don't have direction on when they will be licensed, because their internship cannot go on. And I'm saying, okay, allow me to still bear the burden for this 1 year. I have been bearing the other burden for the years. Even that one I can't be allowed. So you see, but for me, it goes back to the behavior. it goes back to the same behavior. Allocate money on this 500 plus billion on this one, whether it's making progress or not, and let this one stay home. That.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Richard, and the panelists. Something I'll remind you about is MPs are set to receive between 50 to 75 million next week as compensation to cater for the increment in fuel.
That is each one.
Each one in fuel that they have incurred for the last, I think, 2 years.
I think you should say only 75 million only.
Yeah, between 50 to 75 only. For them, because the fuel prices have been increasing and their allowances had been set to a certain amount, they have to get this top up. My name is Prince Apollo. Let's go for a short break. The dialogue will return and we continue to interrogate the current state of affairs in our country, and specifically looking at the simmering discontent in the sections of the public who are actually proposing protests, and we'll do that after this short break. Don't go away, we'll return shortly. Welcome back. This is The Dialogue. My name is Prince Apollo. We have Dr. Jared Wansara in the studio. We have Richard Baguma Tinkasimire. We have Winfred Mugambwa, and we are interrogating the current state of affairs in Uganda relating to several incidents this week, looking at more protesters being released on bail, but more others daring to go on the streets. But of course, looking at other issues like the traders' strike, the closure of shops causing losses to government revenue, but also the responses from government to these particular incidents. And Winfred, I will want to hear from you now. Talk about the interns, the issue of medical interns, an issue that we know that it's a crucial requirement for interns to be deployed so that they gain more hands-on experience in health facilities. But every year we have medical interns striking, and it was also going to be the same case this time when they threatened to go on strike because they have stayed at home for a whole year without placement. But again, when time came, they waited for the whole year. But when time came, also there were other issues that some were left behind, some were not even going to be deployed. What do you think about government's response, especially the Minister of Health and the Minister of Finance on this matter?
On this, I ask myself, we need to ask ourselves, where is the will? Because this has not happened. That it's not the first time that they are striking. So we have to question the political will, the government will, or why does it have to consistently happen like this? In Uganda, the Uganda of today, I think, not thinking, but we have seen that it's the wrong that is rewarded, glorified. And the people responsible for this, even when it happens, have we seen any of how it even affects them, or how they feel about what is happening? We have not seen really something. But again, okay. Like giving examples, I have tried, when we have areas like that in Uganda, there is something we always talk about but don't talk about so much. I've had a chance to be around. Let me say, I've worked in insurance company where the people work for For what? For not for salary. I've worked, I've been around sports, and when you see people in turn and they say some were deployed and others are not deployed, why I've given those examples, I've been in those spaces, and there's a lot of violations that go on. And when you tell me that some are deployed and some were not deployed, it gets me to think that, are there issues like sexual violence, advances, or other forms of violence, corruption that you have to even, you know, there are some things we overlook and yet they're happening. Because when you tell me the numbers are there and we've been knowing about these numbers, and this is a program, like how you've given an example that when in that time, a private student, a parent of a private student is not supposed to pay, which means the government planned for that. And you're telling me that others didn't go. What criteria is used and what reason is given to those ones who are not going? It gets me to also say that, do we need also to investigate in this area that there are even other violations happening for someone to be put on that list? Yes, because very many things are happening in sectors mostly around violations. And people are going silent. That is why sometimes people wake up and you see people busting and people fighting and people speaking out because they've gone through a lot. Yes? So for a government to have a program which has been there, not today, not that it came today morning, not that it came yesterday, but it has been there. It also gets me to question the planning. Where it shows me that there are gaps in planning. Yes, however much, because now deployment and even being trained, that is now implementation. So it means that there is a problem in the system, there is a problem in planning, and there is also a problem around within that need to be addressed. However much they have not yet been brought out. And we are talking about the interns. First we talked about the traders. We are seeing the drive, the underlying thing is about money. It's about finances. Yes. So as a country, when you look at the money, which is the allegations around corruption,
not on allegations. Corruption.
I have started with allegations, because maybe. Right now because
the IGG report is clear, close to 10 trillion. It's lost every year.
Why I first started with allegations, because now that is the talk. Yes. Then when we go to the reality of those ones who have been convicted, it means that we have the money. We have the money, but then we go back to the will. Maybe it is a strategy that we should always have such things. I really don't understand when people say that this government has brought security and peace. Yes, the security is there, but I don't believe peace is there. We can't say that there is peace when we are having people who are striking. No. We can't say that there is peace when we have even teachers who go and they are not paid. There is no peace. The security is there, but the peace is not there. That is why citizens are...
You've heard that some of the strikes are funded by foreigners.
I have heard. But again, yes, but it's the foreigners even sponsoring the government. It's the foreigners sponsoring some of the project, most of the project, if not all, under Ministry of Gender. It is the foreigners funding the health sectors. It is the foreigners funding the government project, the many projects. So who is fooling who? Are they fooling us that the foreigners are only sponsoring, you know?
Okay.
So the foreigners are funding everything. The next thing they will tell us, you people stop breathing because the foreigners have put something wrong, you know? So the will is not there.
The will is the problem.
There is lack of will. And I think there are some things that are stayed there so that the game of corruption can still go on.
Thank you. Viewers, you can now continue to send in your messages. I'll be reading those messages in 5 minutes. Please give us your comment, observation on the issues at hand we are looking at the issue of medical interns, we are looking at the issue of traders' strikes, and we are looking at the issue of minimal anti-corruption protesters being released on bail, but even others daring to continue with the strikes.
We are going to have...
From you, Richard.
We are going to have an investigation that will be around the ghosts, the intern ghosts.
What do you mean?
Yeah, like civil servants are ghosts, like soldiers are ghosts. Like we are going to have an investigation around the ghost interns.
I haven't got it when you say we.
Richard.
We live here.
Okay.
We are here.
Okay.
I'm not planning to relinquish my Ugandanness.
Okay. Richard, maybe Winnie says maybe there is something we do not know about this issue of interns. That
we don't know how many ghosts there are. We don't know how many ghost interns there are. We don't know.
But what we now know is that the cohort of 2024 will wait for another year to be deployed.
At the minimum.
It can exceed 1 year.
That's the minimum. Because these ones, they have, some of them exceeded a year.
They can, remember during this whole year, these people who have actually completed this formal training, and they lack now practical skills, they cannot be employed anywhere because they have not been given a practicing certificate.
Yeah.
They're at home for the whole year until their funds will be available for them to be deployed for.
Yeah, because I'm told that there is something called...
And then they have to go through
pre-internship
internship for 1 year and then they be deployed.
Yeah, I'm told there is something called pre-internship license.
Yeah, we always have those graduates who are seated at home for the whole year now until they are deployed.
Yeah, but you see, Apollo, you see, we talk about intern doctors. And so we're talking about intern doctors,
and what
they call senior house officers.
And we even lack personnel in health facilities. But we have these people who have been trained and they're at home.
Yes,
for the
so you
year.
say you have senior house officers, you have seen them on strike. The ones who are on postgraduate training. You see the issues of interns. We are also going to have a challenge. Because when we have to politically allow them to be deployed, it means some of them will actually not be deployed because the facilities don't exist. Yeah, so they will not be deployed. They may get the 1 million shillings, but they will not be deployed. It means they will not be learning.
But we lack person.
And so what it means, yes, but you see, for an intern to go and do internship, they need to be supervised.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There is a certain level of seniority that can impart skills to an intern to be the correct doctor that we are looking for. And you see, this is what, and that's what I keep saying, that you see many times when you are in the public, you don't really see what an intern not going to do internship or an intern being politically, because of political pressure, allowing them to go and they are not supervised. Because this is going to be my doctor. That's what it means. That I am going to have an unbaked or half-baked doctor, therefore, because the internship was not quality. So when you have political pressure, you say, okay, we are allowing you. But what I was saying, there are many cadres that have to go to internship. So if you say that in this cohort, you can only manage, was it 40 pharmacists? That's what you can manage. So where are the pharmacists? Because the pharmacy training institutions are more, they produce way more than the 40.
No, they say, this is a document from the Ministry of Health. For this cohort, there are 73 accredited training sites. Okay, they have increased it up from 58 in 2023 with varying capacities that was made possible by the recent recruitment of specialists. And according to the Ministry of Internship, according to the Ministry's internship training guidelines, one specialist supervises 4 medical interns to ensure effective knowledge transfer and skills development. The Ministry of Health will maintain this standard until more specialists are
But
recruited.
Apollo, I
Wait a
can
minute.
put it to the Ministry
Are
of Health.
recruited and more centers are accredited.
I can
So
put it to
that
the
means-
Ministry of Health that guideline is not followed. A specialist is supervising 8, 10. You don't have enough supervisors to supervise.
Yes, that's what they.
So the guideline says 4, but it is not being
So
followed.
we lack supervisors.
Absolutely.
We also lack training, accredited training centers.
Yes, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. So you are going to have a doctor, not because of their weaknesses, who is half-baked. It means you, me, the patient. That is the service I will get. Yes, that's what it means.
But why can't we get those supervisors? I mean, recruit
Because
more?
we are not putting their money. My sister calls it will. Hey, my sister calls it will.
Finally, I mean,
Because
if you
we
can,
don't have the money.
Oh, really?
Richard, if you can respond to the response from the Right Honourable Speaker telling the anti-corruption protesters, and not actually telling, asking them where she should go. And anyway, she still has another term before she hands over to Thomas Tayebwa. What do you make of that response? In the wake of these protests that have been the youth have sustained for now, I think it is coming to the second week.
First, I do not know, but I have heard that some of the people in those political offices are very vicious.
Very
Vicious.
vicious.
And they can be very personal and very petty. Some of the people in these high political offices. I don't know if the speaker is like that, I'm not sure. But anyway, I have heard. So I told you that sometimes when we are assessing these people's behavior, we are careful to say what we think from our hearts. That's one too. For me, Apollo, I keep saying that we are here by the grace of God because I believe in God. So if you declare that you know the future for certainty, I think you are equating yourself to God. And I think that then that one needs to be challenged, Apollo. But I also think that it's oftentimes a misreading of your context. And I can understand when you have been in this first of all, the impunity that I talk about, but also in this wallowing in this wealth and discomfort. Sometimes you say things that may not be, when on reflection, that you probably would not have said if you had thought through. I think so. Okay. But finally, Apollo is politics is like a game of chess. You also have to gauge what are you, a bishop, are you a queen, are you a pawn? If you really don't read that correctly, you can be in trouble. Those are my responses.
That's a strong coded message. Good morning, Apollo and the panel. Dr. Wanzara, thank you so much for that submission on the issue of medical interns. Mr. Apollo, the problem of the Ministry of Health is not that they cannot deploy those people, but the issue is that the payments for these interns, okay, so I blame the government for committing itself to paying these students, and along the way it fails to fulfill its promises. Therefore, Dr. Wanzala can be that he can advise the Ministry of Health. Abela Kampumza Keru, thank you so much for that comment, and thank you for watching. Okay, another one here. Good morning, Sol TV. We are live in Mitiana. I can't blame the president for postponing the meeting with traders. He may be getting the best solution. First meeting in Kololo, the traders undermined him and walked away. Don't you think the traders are looking for something else whenever URA, okay, want to train them, they deny? Okay, okay. I have seen Ugandans go to other countries and you find them on streets selling mangoes. What is wrong with the Indians in shops? Okay. Dr. Wanzala, 1 million for food. You have made me happy. Who introduced the issues of paying intern doctors? I'm a teacher in my profession. We do school practice at second year and third year without pay. Instead, we have always appreciated schools for the placement. Lawyers go to practice, they are not paid. I think government should phase the payment, should phase out the payment, okay, and we deploy these people. Mwalimu Peter in Nangoti. Nangoti, I don't know, Nangoti is the name, I think. Mwalimu Peter Nangoti. Thank you so much. Quickly respond to these comments here, Dr. Gerard.
I think I'll respond to this last one. Making a comparison that when teachers are deployed
for school practice,
they are not paid. Yeah, that indeed is true. But also, at the time when these teachers are deployed for school practice, it's not that the school is lacking the teacher, but they are there to learn. But now when it comes to these interns, they don't only be there to learn, but they are also
providing a service.
Yes, full time. In fact, they are overworked. If you go to any of these hospitals like Mulago, most times the first line of defense you get,
they are interns.
They are interns, and all regional hospitals. So they work so hard. They're in theaters. They are doing the work, all kinds of the work of the nurse, and for them, they are. I call them foot soldiers, like the new people say. These are foot soldiers that they will run from ward to ward under emergencies and so forth. When a supervisor is still busy meeting a line of clients, probably you will be the first to go there. So for me, I think they hold the health system of Uganda. So that's the justification.
And for traders, he reminds us the previous meeting in Kololo when traders some looked as if they disrespected the head of state, and possibly he's reciprocating. I don't know.
I don't think the president will behave like a child that became emotional and therefore he's also acting that way. I don't know President Museveni for reacting based on just moods. I think he's someone who usually looks at a situation. But I also want to say that yeah, there are people who booed the president, and I think he understood it. They were angry. They had not worked for days, and certain statements were not good, and therefore they shouted. That's sincerely, maybe, but I don't think his reaction is as a result of moods. Probably he didn't have something new to tell them.
What do you make
because
of
he
it?
told them he will not back off the freeze.
Richard, what do you make of such?
No,
could the president
the traders
be reciprocating?
No, the traders have not mobilized adequately. They haven't. They have not mobilized adequately to become a political threat. Yes. As soon as they become a political threat, I can guarantee you some of them will get sacks. The sacks will be delivered to them. Their circles will get
actually the
injections.
I heard that the president promised to create a special fund from where they can borrow.
It will become operational immediately, as long as they become a political threat. You see, if you can get 1,200 million for some few groups in the ghetto, yeah, because
actually that's what the traders were actually
you can
asking.
understand. So for me, they have not mobilized adequately.
This week, Richard, this week the president met ghetto leaders at State House, and the traders were asking, but the president, if the president can, head of state can meet the ghetto leaders, why can't he find time for us? And that's when they are not yet these sentiments come in, that is what of whether the president may not be, could not be happy with the way the traders really interacted with him in the previous meeting.
So he's happy with these quote-unquote hooligans burning guitar?
What do you think? What do you think, Winnie? Because we're interrogating what could be behind these incidents, and
I agree with what my brother said. They are not yet a priority. Of course, they've not yet, I said that when downtown is closed, there are other places where people can get things from. And the kind of way they protest, like closing shops, it even affects them.
Oh, the traders themselves.
Yes, more. The president, I think, has not yet felt their
the impact has not been felt.
However much it's felt, but it is not the same way with the ghetto youth. You know, the ghetto youth, last year we were towards the campaign, and many of the ghetto youth were behind Bobby Wine and Nope. You get? That is what he's saying. The traders haven't yet turned into a political threat. And the ghetto youth, given the history from the previous elections, and we are soon getting into the elections, they're already a threat. You get it? So he will meet them. He will meet them when he feels like
it's necessary.
Yes, because I believe even when he met them, you know, when they tried to walk away, I've forgotten the statement he used when he was telling them to sit back and they have to listen, because they stayed. You get it? If they had walked away and left him there in the tent alone and the soldiers, maybe he would have felt it. But when he raised the voice from based on the reaction they were doing, you saw they all came down. So I think he feels that he can still manage them. Right now, there are better things to do. There are better.
Not attending to traders, the business community that supports the economy.
He hasn't felt it yet. It's not yet a priority.
And maybe just an addition. I have seen one of the tools the president has always used is, to divide and rule. Before, Casita was a very strong lobby group in town. I remember in the early 2000 now there are about 3 associations downtown there. So many times amongst them, they don't agree. You find Casita people are saying, we're announcing a strike. Another group is in the State House doing other things. We have seen in other countries, these organized groups become the serious force for influencing elections, for influencing government policy. So that's why you see even in the US now, they are reaching out to the unions, journalists associations, teachers unions and so forth, and all candidates are struggling to meet those. And then you clearly mention your policy position. Here, you see now the teachers. Before we had Uganda National Teachers Union. Now we have the science teachers, when their salaries was enhanced. Now we have theirs, they broke off, the scientists, to form theirs. Before you know it, another group is breaking off from the original UNATO. At the end of the day, you know that if you break them and throw some money here, then they lose the objective, the focus. But these are short-term, strategies, because eventually, I can assure you, these issues will come up and we shall all face them.
Baguma and Winnie raised the issue of traders being very low on the priority list, down on the priority list. Maybe they are not threatening interests of the state.
Yeah, he said, actually, if I got him clearly, that they have not turned themselves into a political force.
Should they?
I think it is their right. It is their right. It is a right for people to make trade unions. It's a right for people to mobilize around issues. Actually, that eliminates the tire banners. People who, if you disorganize the organized groups, then you are attracting the stone throwers and the tire guys to come and burn tires on the street. But it is better for you to address through these organized groups, the cooperative movement, the trade unionists, the trade associations. These are organized groups actually that help you govern because they're also productive. They're also productive. They generate money, they add value to the economy. And therefore it wouldn't be a problem for you, to listen to them instead of you acting manipulatively. That I will manipulate,
Right.
1026 comes, I will be elected again, then I buy time.
Okay.
It doesn't help.
Thanks for the program. I am RK25 Uganda from Chivito, Senior Secondary Bunyangabo. I'm saying the strike of traders is like showing that the central government should sit with traders and get solutions for their issues, not just promising them so that we can develop our country together. For God and my country, you didn't. Yeah, okay, you gave us your name. Thank you so much for watching. That is your observation. Business people can't make it because some traders get silent meetings with the president, so it's not easy for them to chase unnecessary taxes. I read the messages as they come in, but I think the viewers and the panelists must be picking the real message. Okay. Okay. I think I read other messages as they come in, and Winnie, as we prepare to conclude the discussion, what now could you recommend as a remedy to all this content that is popping up everywhere? Like I said, we see the youth are still not, the issue of the youth is still not settled. We don't know what will happen to this issue of corruption. Even now, the business community, the issues are still pending. The issues are still pending. It's another unfinished business. And again, we have the issue of interns, another pending business. What could be recommendation as of now?
I'll have like 3 recommendations, but still, until the government, until the president accepts that, I know he knows the reality on the ground, but he needs to be intentional in the solutions. He needs to be intentional in, if he says, okay, we need to have a dialogue, let him be really intentional in it. Around corruption, until they are intentional in holding people accountable, having penalties, having like the issue of corruption is real. Yes, the president and the government officials, even the member of parliament, need to be intentional on this as we talk about it. Until we see that, until we have because of course, until they get the will to handle the issue, to face the reality, and accept to have dialogue with the different parties, the youth, the interns, the traders, and also incorporate in their, think about what they're saying, but not come through. It's like, for them, the leaders come with their solutions, and that is period. They need the citizen to listen to them even when they are wrong. There is lack of that involvement. Okay. An involvement, okay. If there is something, a solution, we are saying we are training traders. URA is coming to train traders. They are coming through using their own lenses. They have not accepted to listen to the other people on the other side and also evolve them. When the youth are saying there is no employment, yes, it is okay. There is this thing of one minister who said it is okay to employ relatives. No one is saying that it's wrong to employ relatives, but you can't be having all your employees when they are relatives. You can't be when, okay, you're having them, but you're not ready to talk about the issues. The youth are saying that there is no employment, people are being corrupt, and we are seeing it there, and we are not ready to handle these issues. And when they come out to strike, everything is turned out. It's military. People are taken to prison. Is that the solution? Because every other day, that is why every day there is someone whose heart gets sad and they go on the street. Only that is an indicator that even if thousands will be in prison, there will still be someone out there who will come out and stand. So we need to have, the government needs to have, President Museveni needs to sit, instead of using the army, instead of using the police to put protesters in prison, we need to have real solutions. Thank you.
Richard, Winnie proposes citizen engagement in form of a dialogue, but others also are proposing amendments either in the laws to punish the corrupt, to carbon wastage, wastage in public resources. Do you see a solution in sight to calm down this discontent in members of the public?
First, from the top, where it starts from, we must deal with our impunity.
It must start with those at the top.
Because that's the learning. We are like fish. Society is like fish. When the tail will not rot, it is the head that starts and then the other. And the impunity is copied. Is copied and reinforced by the behaviors of those up. So first you have to accept, confront, reflect upon our very impunitized behavior. And it has to come down. Yeah, that's one. The second thing is lip service to do with corruption. Must also.
Why do you call it lip service? We have members of parliament, I think now it is coming to 2 months in prison, and big government officials in prison. Possibly, we are working on it.
I started with Mawat, if you remember. I think for me, in something we call cosmetology. In our other information management, we say cover story, diversion. So the lip service in corruption. You see, we know officially, and official estimations are usually underestimates many times. But we know that we have about between 9.1 to what? Something, 10.7 trillion that hemorrhages every year. I am told that the recoveries are 30 billion.
Yeah. Just a patry.
Not even 1%. So that has to change. That's what I'm talking about, Apple. That the lip service to this hemorrhage, this massive hemorrhage, the stealing of funds, public resources, that for me is the second recommendation. Must stop, or at least must reduce, and must be seen to be reducing. I think the third thing is to put money where people can reach it. Put some money where people can reach it. And I told you the expenses on health, the expenses on the health, the money we spend going out for treatment, it's what, 400 billion? The 500 plus that is constructing our super specialized hospital, and the other 500 plus that is constructing the ultra modern vaccine establishment. I mean, we don't have to put all that there. We can take a portion of that and put it in here
Where people can access
where people can feel, yes,
those services.
where it can feel. So that also, the profligacy in and fraudulent really expenditure that does not get to the people to enjoy it, I think that we must also change. So how do we budget? How do we spend our money? The other thing, Apollo, is to stop dealing with issues of a national nature as if we are dealing with a home state, an individual home state.
in a casual manner.
We have to, yes. We have to.
As a communication expert, what could be recommendation to government on communication? Because, I don't know, even government offices or officers communicating in a manner that does not anger the members of the public?
You can't. You cannot. You cannot communicate a message that is not from your boss.
Oh.
Yeah, if your boss's message is a message of impunity, defiance, arrogance, casual, that's what you will communicate. So it still goes. Because as a communicator, you are only reflecting what the principle. But also, the management of funds. Apollo, you talk to your friends who are communication officers. The first thing that is dealt of, if you want to do something about the budget in any department, I mean, the first money that gets struck off
For communication.
is for communication. So, wow. So you see, it's the other recommendations I'm talking about.
So government needs to be serious about communication.
It needs to be serious about the way it spends money.
On communication.
Whether it is communication. You see, let me tell you what communicates most, Apple, is not the word.
Oh, yeah.
It is the actions.
True.
Yes. So for me, as a communicator, the first thing is I come look at your actions and I'm like, this assignment you are giving me, I am going to fail. Because
Perhaps our leaders need to be oriented and...
No.
Don't you think
No.
it's intentional?
The impunity, this is how we orient them. How you orient them is to get the younger people and they come with their placards. And you pick them on the street. If you have 10,000 of them, only 10,000. This country has what? 15 million young people.
15 million?
25 million?
It is
Whatever.
75, below 35.
Yeah, 75%. So we are talking about, because if we are 40 something, we are 30 million. If 10,000 of them, of the 30 million, 10,000 come out with placards, I can tell you, that is what that's the training, the orientation. That's the orientation that the leaders will have.
Dr. Gerard Wanzara, what could be recommendations in this state there is a headline that ran on Daily Monitor this week, state of protests. It has become a state of protests. People are venting out their anger and discontent. What could be recommendations?
One, I think the issue of fiscal discipline. And this also relates to our budgeting. There is no way you are going to win a public relations war, okay, with the citizens if they see that you are placing money in wrong priorities. I just quickly give an example. This year, the Prime Minister, the Speaker, the President, the Chief Justice, all sat, and the Vice President, to say, you know what, you, Your Excellency, we always give you a lot of money to donate. Gives pickups to bishops, to people he likes. Okay? All that money in a year. So they're also saying, but some of us are being called thieves because we don't have a budget to donate. So then they say that, okay, out of 160 billion, 162 billion, you, Mr. President, you'll have 130 billion. And then the 30 billion, 32 is shared between all these offices. Now, the mentality moves away from addressing critical issues,
Like one of interns,
to hiring support to appear like you're a very good person, and yet you are using the same taxpayers' money. So irresponsible budgeting is the source of that. Then two, prioritizing. How do we list? At least as a country, we should know. Like this intern issue, which is recurring, can't we find a solution, knowing how many we get out of that? I think prioritizing is the key. Then the other, let's build our country through organized groups.
Thank you.
If you look back, the Bugis Cooperative Union, where I come from, in the 60s, supported the construction of Bukedi College Kachonga, Tesho College Lloyd, and then part of Nabumali, and it was also lending money to government of Uganda.
Really?
If you have these organized groups with money. You even don't have to risk by going to borrow from expensive lenders out.
Thank you.
So there are so many recommendations we would make.
Thanks for the program. I am Silas R. Here at Chebando. I think the terrain worldwide has changed. The longer the leaders take to understand, the more costly it will be. If we look at every sector, even those who are not striking don't have the means to do so. There is need to restructure everything for efficiency. Before, corruption would not be felt like it is now because the population has grown, diseases increased, cost of living increased. So the available resources need to be put in priority areas and not swindled by few people.
Absolutely.
A very brilliant submission there. And he reminds me of protests in Venezuela, protests in Nigeria.
Yes,
Bora
Nigeria.
Tinubu is at tenterhooks in Kenya. I think
And that's something that Africa has been underlooking. We all have something in common. Young people with common problems, unemployed, hunger. If you don't find that's unemployment, then there's a lack of food and all those challenges.
they are
And
protesting
when we
against
said-
hunger in Nigeria.
Yes.
Isn't it hunger?
Yeah, because 1/3 of the northern part of Nigeria is unproductive.
Sol TV, thank you for the program. I'm Kibiru Kasimu in Mutundwe. Indeed, our government.
Mafia, this.
Okay, I need our government to stop using the army and police to brutalize its people whenever they try to show their dissatisfaction. Thank you so much. Chiberu, I wanted to clear these messages before we conclude because the issue of collecting signatures in Parliament, I think they are gaining more ground. Initially it was 177, now they have at least 10 more. I need in your final comment, gentlemen and lady, to make a comment to that. Please do, as we conclude.
Yeah, I think, the pressure of Sechikubo, I think, is worked. Now that they have 187 signatures, we expect the rules of procedure to prevail. That we have been denying that there's no corruption in the parliament. Let everyone discuss it publicly. And we know if people are innocent, they will be exonerated.
According to the rules of the House, do you think, or can you now authoritatively say this motion is going to be tabled?
Yes, the rule under which these people sought leave to bring a motion had unlimited time. And therefore they took all the time to collect the signatures. So what they are left with basically, and they had to collect more than what is needed in case some people turn out and they claim that what the signatures there are false. So if they have more, then they have to file with the clerk. The clerk, within 14 days, the clerk must notify the speaker. And if the speaker is informed, cannot violate rules by denying a motion that has fulfilled all the rules of procedure.
So the motion will be tabled.
It will be tabled.
Richard, your concluding remark?
I told you, I'm telling you again, one, I'm not excited about the motion. No, it's a motion.
Actually, did you predict that they won't get the required signatures?
They wouldn't even get the signatures.
But here they have more than they need?
Absolutely. And I told you my own thoughts. I asked the question, where did the resources come from that this honorable deployed to go around the country chasing MPs? Because he confessed himself that they would find me in the constituency, and then they would reach there and say, oh, no, I'm already left for Kampala. Which resources is he using? What resources was he using to deploy to go get signatures? So anyway. So I'm not excited about the motion. These diversions for me don't mean much.
It's a diversion to you.
I would like you to take some money from these super projects and let the interns do their work.
Yeah.
I would like you to take some money from the 75 million for fuel for each of the MPs and let the teachers be deployed. I would like you to take money from some money, a few billions from the, what do you call it, the budget of giving out. What is that?
Donations.
Donations. Take a little bit of that money and let the KCCA people who clean the roads get paid. That's what I am looking for. But these diversions of motions.
Winnie, Baguma calls them diversions, but me, I look at it as pressure. The members of parliament initially were slow in appending the signatures, but looks like they are now yielding to pressure from the public, and I think that is good.
How many MPs do we have?
529.
How many signed?
187.
Not even half. How long did it take to collect them?
2 months.
MPs who always come. So I won't divert so much from him where I say that it's a diversion, because okay, the signatures have come, but remember it's going to be on the floor of parliament of how many? 530.
Yeah,
what?
they need more than 200 for the motion to do what? 270.
You
For
get
the
it.
motion to be adopted.
You get it to be and do you think it will be? To me, according to how it started and how it's flowing, somewhere, somehow it will not go through. It is a good thing. Everyone wants to talk about corruption, but the people in the House, majority don't want. Because when you read through the lines, there is a way, either the speaker or someone, most of them somehow, innocently or knowingly or unknowingly, might be a culprit of the corruption in some way, either by signing or by somewhere. That is why people are, and again, when you hear the discussion between them again, that is, right now, the issue is, the reality is there. Yes? Reality, people have shown their dissatisfaction. If the youth have woken up and say that you people, the corruption is too much, and they have provided evidence, like how we have seen the evidence put on social media, we need the president to stand up and say, okay, let's verify the receipts, this transaction, and let's see how the transaction went through, whether they were really legal or not. And when we see the issues, let's deal with the issue at hand. The real issues. Okay. If corruption is there, let's deal with it intentionally. Intern issues, let's deal with the issues. Okay. This issue of MPs signing.
This is about the 4 commissioners only.
It is about the 4
themselves 1.7 trillion.
Yes, it's about 4, and it is an issue. It is an issue. But when you look at the process, how it has been going. Yes, we need to focus on it and expect the good results. We all want the good out of it. But again, let's not so much focus on only that and say that, okay, this is going to be our solution. No, it is not. Let all the people, those ones who are going out and doing that peaceful demonstrations, those ones speaking, let's continue until the president hears.
Thank you so much, Winfred Mugambwa. Thank you so much, Richard Baguma, and thank you so much, Dr. Gerard Were-Wanzala. Thank you so much, our viewers. You are a great audience. You can follow these programs and watch again on YouTube. Our channel is Salt TV Uganda. Look for the dialogue and specifically those programs you would wish to watch again. And you can follow up on Twitter, Salt TV Uganda. You can follow me on Twitter also, Apollo Tusime on Twitter. And of course, we'll catch up again next Saturday in another edition of the dialogue. Thanks to the production team. Thank you so much. Until next Saturday, good afternoon.